Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to buy a car in Australia and how to get the best deal. Raise your hands. If you are new to Australia, the most important thing you need to get yourself some wheels. If you don't have the wheels, then you'll struggle to do things. So I've got this new car and I'm going to show you exactly how to buy a car in Australia, what's the best deal, and how can you get the most bang for your buck when you buy a car. So let me run you through. So when you see a car first time, so let's go step by step, one by one, and what are the sort of important things that you need in the car, and then I will take you through what I've done and how I've got the car. So the first important thing is to have a quick inspection of the car. Have a look at how it looks like, if there are big dents or bumps in the car. So when I got this car, I had a quick look around there. I also opened up the bonnet. So when you open up the bonnet, have a look if there is no oil leak or anything like that. Have a look inside the car, have a look if there is no oil leak or anything. Just have a quick inspection of the car. The second most important thing is looking at the interior. And when you unlock the car, you sort of go inside and have a quick look at the interior of the car, see if there is no wear and tear and stuff. Check the odometer and the service, sorry about that, check the odometer and the service history of the car. So generally all the cars have a service book, and see if the car has been serviced. So see if there is any car which has an odometer or reading of more than 150,000, I generally tend to avoid it. I tend to get cars under 150,000 because that's like the sweet spot. Otherwise cars have a lot of problems and cars are quite expensive. The second thing I will do in a car is check out the air conditioning, turn that on, get a horn, check whether that works or not. Have a quick look around the interior, have a look at the gears and stuff, and then work things and have a look at the speakers. Once you have done that, then you move forward. Then the next thing to do in buying the car is to take it out for a ride. So I take it out for a ride, A, on the highway, number one, B, on small roads, take a whole 360 turn a couple of times, reverse, park the car, have a look at the headlights, whether they are working. When you take it on the highway, see how it's tracking. Just look at the braking of the car as well. So give it a bit of speed and then brake the car, check if the brakes are working. Just check out those basic things which are important. Whilst you're doing that, have a look at the wipers as well. Wipers, whether they're working or not, whether the water is coming, whether it's cleaning, and those sort of things are quite important. Also have a look at the dashboard, have a look whether there are any lights on, whether there's an engine light on, and things like that. So those would be important things to note in the car. So basic things. I would put a list of things that you need to note in the car below. So make sure you make a checklist, write it down on a piece of paper or print it off, and then take it over there and try to get the car. Now, a few important things based on my 9 years of experience in Australia on how I went about buying cars and what were the positives, what were the negatives. So far I have bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in Australia over the last 9 years. Some of the cars have been pretty good. Some of the cars have made a big loss, and I've had issues with getting rid of them, and I lost a lot of money. So my advice for you and tips are these. Number one, cost. You can get a car in Australia from $500 to $50,000 or even more. But what's the sweet spot? The sweet spot, I feel, with cars having very few or minimal issues is around $3,000 to $5,000. So that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to buy the car for. So if, say, somebody's advertised a car for $5,000, you can offer them $4,000 and try to get a deal. If the car is already advertised for $2,000, I would actually avoid that car because that car is likely to have issues. The reason why I say the car is likely to have issues is that the older the car, the more riskier the purchase is. Or the more mileage the car has, the more riskier the purchase is. And in Australia, it's not like other developing countries like Pakistan, India, where we come from. The labor is very expensive. So you can if you have a small problem with the brakes, you end up spending $200-300. If there is a problem with the engine, you can spend up to $800-900 to fix it, or even more. I had a problem with my last car which had a problem with the exhaust system. I spent $600 in fixing it. That's a lot of money and that's a lot of cost. So you rather want to avoid that and get a car in that sweet spot. Number 2, mileage. So mileage is really important. The reason why mileage is very important is that if the car has had a lot of kilometers on it, it is likely that it has problems in it. So, and it has a lot of wear and tear. For example, the wheels, the tires of the car are worn, and each tire over here, a good tire costs you $200. So for 4 tires, you can end up paying somewhere around $700-800, and you want to avoid that at all costs. Brakes, again, changing the brake pads and everything can cost $300-400. So you want to avoid all these sort of expenses. Number 3, the resale of the car. It's important that you buy a car which then you can sell easily. Otherwise, you're stuck with that car for the rest of your life, or you have to sell that car for very cheap. So the most reliable cars in Australia are actually Japanese cars. So you can't go wrong with Honda, Toyota, Suzuki. Those sort of cars are pretty good. Generally, the Korean cars are quite good as well. So Hyundai and Kia, but make sure. So this car was originally advertised for $5,000. I ended up paying $4,000 for the car. It's about 130,000 kilometers when I bought it, and had full service history and everything on it. So when you buy these type of cars, so let me just see if I can open the bonnet and show you guys how it looked from inside and if there were any issues. There were a couple of issues in this car. For example, the brake pad was a bit worn. One of the tires had was completely worn, so I had to change the tire, which was going to be $40-50 off for a second-hand tire. But the other thing was its oil. So oil had a bit there. No, engine oil was a little bit low. So I told the owner that he has not been looking after the car very well. But otherwise, it was a really nice car for a $4,000 car. You can't go wrong with that. You know, the car was quite clean, and I can easily sell this car for $4,000 after using it for a few months or a year. So just recapping everything. Number 1, what is the mileage of the car? Number 2, looking at the year of the car, how many years old it is. So try to avoid anything more than 10 years old. Number 3 would be overall conditioning of the car. Have a look at the condition. And I forgot to tell you about number 4, let's say the price of the car. So try to avoid any cheaper cars if you buy stuff like that. And also the most important thing, try to make sure you have a look at the history of the car. So there are a lot of websites will take $5 or $10 from you and tell you any vehicle damage history or write-off history. I'll put the links down in the description. Make sure you spend those $5 or $10 before you buy the car, and you will not go wrong. So these were my tips today for you for buying a car. Good luck. Take care. Bye.